Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and today we have a guest who hails from one of the top 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii. You could throw Puerto Rico in there as well. Top 50 states in the whole United States. Illinois, Springfield, the state capital specifically. This man is trained at Burning Spirit Wrestling Academy under Michael Elgin, and his first match in 2016, he's wrestled for AAW, Evolve, IWA Mid-South, Impact. He was on their All Glory show. He had a match, as well as 2 matches on Explosion, one against Trey Miguel, and then in a tag team match against Buck Runderson and Mr. Marvelous. He's the current 0-1 USA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, as well as the 0-1 USA World Tag Team Champion with Gnarls Garvin. He shared the ring with Danhausen, Ethan Page, Brian Pillman Jr., Marco Stunt, Eddie Kingston, Trey Lamar, to name a few. So standing at 5'3", weighing in around 160 pounds, I welcome Jake Lander.
Yeah.
Hey Jake, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? It's going good. I mean, that was an amazing rundown.
Thank you.
I need you around me all the time. Yeah,
well,
I need you
my
all
wife
the time.
doesn't want me around.
All that stuff.
You could definitely have me.
There you go.
Did you tore up your knee in the spring?
Yeah. So actually, back in January, I had a pretty bad accident where I dove over the top rope and my legs hit the guardrail, my head hit the ground, and knocked myself completely unconscious. Was out for about 30 seconds once I watched the video. I didn't even know I knocked myself out until I seen a video a fan actually sent me. And then I was like, well, I don't remember laying there for 30 seconds. But then I got up and I finished the match, and I definitely didn't feel normal. You don't feel normal after that, but you know, the wrestler's mentality is, unless you're dead in the middle of the ring, I'm going to finish the match. Yeah. So, you know, it's kind of instilled in all of us, and we're all a little, crazy if we're in this sport to begin with.
For sure.
I got up, I finished the match, and then after the match is when I really, once the adrenaline wore off, is when I really felt everything go south.
Oh, God.
And ended up going into the hospital the next day. It was actually the Sunday. It was actually the Saturday before the Royal Rumble, because I remember not going to the hospital Sunday morning because I wanted to watch the Royal Rumble. So after that was over is when I went into the hospital, and I had nerve damage in my leg. I have short-term memory loss. It was a very bad accident. But because of all of the neurological stuff that they were so focused on, which, when I went in, I had brain swelling and things like that, they kind of overlooked the knee. In about 2 weeks to a month later, somewhere around there, still feeling the effects of the knee, still hurting. I went and got that checked out, and they did an MRI, and that's when they told me that I tore the ACL. So.
Oh my God. Is the recovery, I remember, I think it was 1987 or 88, Danny Manning was the #1 pick in basketball, and right away in his rookie, he tore up his knee, and that destroyed his career, because what they did with an ACL back then as opposed to what they do now is night and day. How is the rehab for it?
I mean, exactly what you just said is exactly true, because from then to now, 5 years ago, actually, I had surgery on the same day. 5 years ago on my left knee, I tore my ACL. Yeah. So, and even just in that 5 years, surgery is completely different, and rehab is completely different. It took me almost twice as long with my left knee that it's taken me with my right knee.
Oh, wow.
To get places. I'm moving along so much faster with my right knee, and that's just because of the way surgery is now and the way rehab is now. So just in 5 years, it took it from a 9-month to a year being out with my left knee to they're saying, only 6 out of months.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
Things are moving along. So recovery now is, it's 2 big old scars, from the surgery. When I got out of surgery with my right knee, I kind of looked at them. I was kind of expecting the same big old ugly scars. I got to think of something cool to tell people. And they're tiny. They're just little. You can barely see them. They're not noticeable. And it's just the medical field is always evolving like that, and it's allowing athletes like us who are hungry and want to get right back into the game and take no time off to be able to get back as quick as we can. And I'm super grateful for all the knowledge learned in the 5 years.
Yeah. Oh my God. How are the neurological things? Like, did you have a
So
concussion?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had a
Okay.
pretty bad concussion. One of the concussion tests, I'll never forget this. It was the most outer body experience I've ever experienced, while being able to tell myself you're not doing something right, and I couldn't stop it just because of the head. They gave me a sheet, and it had a circle on it, just a round circle, and they told me to draw a clock. And when I drew the clock, I knew what a clock looked like. I've seen clocks my entire life. I just couldn't draw a clock to save my life. And they were like, well, we need you to try something. And for some reason, I was envisioning it in my head, but I couldn't draw it.
Was that
And so
scary?
yeah. Oh yeah. That's when I really, knew that something was wrong, was at that moment. And then when I actually drew it, the 1, the 6, the 9, the 3, I tried to do those as best as I can, and then fill in the gaps. And I tried to, have some get into it. I just couldn't for the life of me. I think I ended up the 12 right where the 10 would be.
Okay.
Yeah, and they looked at that and they're like, okay, you have something really wrong. And then with the nerve damage in the leg, they said that could have been possibly from a mini stroke I had overnight because I went to sleep on the concussion.
Oh my God.
So while I was in the hospital for 3.5 days, I was being woken up every hour for to make sure things weren't slipping back in because they were worried about it. So for those 3.5 days in the hospital, with that head injury, it was a very scary time.
So, okay, 2 questions. One, what did the doctor say about continuing wrestling? And 2, what was their opinion? Based on
I'll start with the doctors because the doctors, what the doctor said is a little more professional than what my mother said. Totally. And I'll have to keep it PG from what my mother said.
Sure.
She was not happy, but the doctor said, they had the same reaction. 5 years ago when I tore my ACL and I told the doctor I wanted to go back, his reaction was, "Are you crazy?" Now with the head injury, my first question was, it wasn't, am I ever gonna, feel my, knee again? Is this gonna be forever? My first question was, when can I wrestle again? And they just looked at me like, "You're gonna wrestle again after this?" And I said, "Yeah, this is what I love to do. This is what I, feel like I was born to do. Everybody has that feeling, and this is one of the things I'm really good at." So that was my first question, and they basically told me that if you are going to wrestle again, you need to take a good quality of time off.
Okay.
And rest your mind, rest your head, make sure you don't fall, make sure no impacts, because it's on the same scale as what took Daniel Bryan out, that concussion level.
Wow.
So knowing that those type of concussions are on the scale of taking something away, such as they did with Daniel Bryan, as wrestling would be for me. Normally I like to bend the rules a little bit. They tell me to walk, I kind of jog. They tell me to lift 5 pounds, I like to lift 10 pounds. But with this one, I really was, all right, what do I need to do? How long do I need to lay in bed? Give me exact things and I'll do them, because I knew that if I mess around with this, if I don't follow the right directions, I'm done. So that's they told me. They basically were like, all right, if you're going back, this is what you need to do to go back. We don't suggest it, but
Have you been back in a ring?
And actually, it was about, I had one more show right before the whole COVID pandemic went on, where everything just got taken down. It was the Glory Pro show. I can't think of the name right now. I think it was the anniversary show, actually.
Okay.
I think it was. That was the last one. And going into that, I would say that I was feeling very good. I would say I was feeling 100%. Obviously, I don't know what my brain was.
Yeah.
But even in that, the months being taken off felt like a year, So I was just like itching to get back. And even then, I took baby steps,
So
it wasn't a.
Were you hesitant to take a bump? Like for the first time?
Yeah, I was very hesitant. In that match, wasn't the first time that I took a bump. I since there was that month, I wanted to make sure that I was, able to perform safely. So I did get in the ring and kind of run the ropes and bump around and roll around and things like that. And but yeah, taking that first initial bump after being told that if you don't wait, this could end your career. It was a wave of emotions and thoughts of, is this long enough? Should I go ask them? Am I making the right choices? So
yeah. Did you play football?
It's kind of one of those things.
Did you ever play organized football?
I did not play football.
Okay.
Football was one of the sports that I just never played. I played about everything else except football.
Well, yeah, because like that is like sometimes like I'll ask people, would you let your kids play, organized football, knowing now what they know about concussions and life after? And everyone's like, no, I leave it up to them. I'm like, all right, let's go back a little bit. So growing up, were you I hear a lot of when I talk to wrestlers, like I was picked on, bullied growing up. I was small. I looked like this. Did you have any of that when you were growing up?
Yeah, there was some bullying in school, middle school to high school times, just because, I am only 5'3", I was actually just looking through some old athletic stuff, and at 6 years old, I had this little playing card made for my baseball team.
Yeah.
And at 6 years old, it had my height stat, and my height stat was only 3'5".
Oh, wow.
So, I've been short my entire life.
Yeah.
Thing was the height, and, it just it was what it was. I didn't let it affect me too much. I wasn't one of those, type of kids that get bullied and lash out. It was kind of just like at a young age, I kind of realized that there's always going to be those people in the world.
Yeah.
There's always going to be those people that have a harder life than you, and they try to feel better and please themselves.
Yeah.
By ripping other people down. And I knew seeing those people, I let them roll off my back,
Yeah. So when did wrestling come on your radar?
Honestly, I can't tell you the exact time, but it has been something I wanted to do for a long time. Everything has kind of involved with wrestling with me. After high school, when I kind of realized, because I always wanted to play baseball. Baseball was my main sport. I always wanted to grow up and be a baseball player. That was kind of my main course. And then after I kind of realized that, that's not going to work out, that's not actually happening, that's when I really started to dive into wrestling schools and how can I become a wrestler. And the funny thing is, I loved wrestling so much, but at that time, I didn't really know much about like the independent scene, that there was an actual scene.
Oh, okay.
I was more of a Raw or SmackDown person. So I was looking up, I was Googling, how do I get into WWE? I didn't realize that, there were all of these other type of wrestling that I could get into that way. I was just wanting to go straight to the top.
Yeah, totally.
It wasn't until I actually went to a friend of mine wanted to go to a wrestling show that I have in my hometown, and I knew nothing about it, but it's wrestling. Of course I'm going to go. And the first night I went, they released their school that they were having, and I was like, this is it. This is why I was. And so I called them immediately, and it cost me $300. So you can tell it wasn't the best, right away. Good fundamentals, but other than that, but hey, it got me in the door. So it got me in a wrestling ring. And
is the $300 a one-time payment?
Yeah, it was a $300 one-time payment.
And that's where you met Michael Elgin?
No, that was actually Elgin was my first. Elgin was my second kind of school I went to. The first one was here local. It was a smaller ring. It was a smaller thing. The crowds at this event, they've gotten a lot bigger recently, but at the time they were 60 to 100 people, and it was just kind of a small thing. But the way I seen it was, this is my way in. So
yeah.
I'm gonna get it now, and then.
So would you say, what was your first day of training? Had you ever been in a wrestling ring or anything like that?
No.
So were you nervous?
Oh yeah, I was equally nervous as I was excited, I think, because growing up, you see this ring, and it's a stage, it's a sight to behold when you're a fan,
Yeah.
It's like, you always hear, is it padded? Is it not? Is it, there was so much just looking at a ring and being able to physically touch a ring that was overwhelming for me, let alone, when I threw my Nikes on and, I had knee pads and everything like that. I had elbow pads and, I think I showed up the first couple days until I realized no one else did. I had a mouth guard. And so, when they finally said, get on in there, I was like, all right, I've been training for this my whole life, and I tried to get in all cool and throw my leg over the middle of the rope, and it was great.
Were
I'll
you
never
in
forget
pain?
that first day.
Were you in pain
Yes.
after it? Yeah.
When I always tell people, because I do in that same training school, they still have it today, and a lot of times they like me to come in, because I'm well traveled now and things like that. And if there's any ever newcomers, I lay it to them straight, and I tell them, and without a single hint of a lie here, the next morning I woke up, I would take my first bumps. I couldn't move.
Oh God.
It's not a lie. From head to toe, everything hurt. Because when you're learning, I caught on to bumps relatively quicker.
Okay.
But there was still a week where I was hitting my elbows and hitting top part of my back, lower part, spine, butt. I wasn't throwing my legs out. So
yeah.
Everything hurts your first couple of weeks. If you can get through that first couple of weeks and you really want it, because you're gonna really, really need to want wrestling.
Yeah.
Those first couple of weeks, if you get through that, then you'll make it. Want it.
Were you training on your own, or were there any other new to wrestling people to train?
Oh yeah, there was. I think when I started, there was 18 or 19 people that showed up for this training class.
Okay.
And out of all of them, I believe only 4 of us remained.
Oh wow.
And then some stragglers kind of came in and made the class a little bigger. But yeah, there was definitely some newbies that were there, and some of them still wrestle today, and some of them I still have. My closest friends. One of my closest friends. I was in his wedding. I'd die for the guy. I met him there. So,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask you a question. Do you care about if you win or you lose a match, or do you care more putting on the good performance?
I personally don't necessarily care about the win or loss, and unless it plays into, unless I feel like it's not the best storyline for the show, for the fans, and
okay.
I'll kind of say something. I'll kind of just because it's the bookers, it's
yeah.
their thing, it's their vision. But I feel like any good booker, and as a booker, you're also a businessman, and any good businessman should want to be open to different ideas and different paths. So I've never been really shy to just express my thoughts, and if they get shut down, they get shut down. If they get picked up on and it's better, it's better.
Yeah.
And if you tell me to, go away and go wrestle, I'll go away and go wrestle, but just the fact of winning or losing to me doesn't really matter.
Okay.
More of what kind of show I can put on, who my opponent is, what kind of story are we telling, that kind of thing.
So, but winning a belt, that's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely.
So do you have 2 belts, your tag team belt and the junior heavyweight championship?
Yeah, I have the 2 belts actually upstairs.
Do you ever walk around in the house with your belts on?
Absolutely.
I'd always have them on me if I was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
right. That's a real thing. Belts. A lot of people have different mixed emotions about belts, and some people like me really enjoy them, and other people just think they weigh down their gear bag, which they do.
Yeah.
But which they do, and they do cost a little more money going through the airport type of thing. But when you have a belt, it means more than just being the quote unquote champion of that company. It means that company trusts you. That means that you're good enough at the time with all of the other people to put on the best story for the fans, for the company to make the most money. It has a lot of different meanings for us as wrestlers than just as a fan see as the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And I respect those decisions that are made at the time when, somebody puts a belt on me, and I really take them seriously to make sure that if I don't have the best match of the night, I'm helping other people's matches. I'll put my match together. It might be a main event match, but I won't start putting my match together until a little after intermission, just because I'm trying to help other people put their stuff together and make sure that things are going
the whole show is great.
Yeah. I don't just want any show I'm on. It doesn't matter if I'm close with the booker or not, or they just book me. Any show I'm on, I don't want it to be a show with 8 different matches. I want it to be an entire performance. From match 1 to the main event is telling a elongated story while all these little stories are happening in place. And by the end, I want people to leave going, that was the best show I've ever seen.
Not I like the second match. No, it was that was a great show we just went and took.
Yeah. I want to make sure that every single match has a little something different. It'll opposed to all the different fans. And, because fans are so diverse on what they like, whether it's old school, the high spot stuff, the storytelling, the strikes, strong style, whatever it is, I want to be on a show where it has a little something for everybody.
All right, I have to ask you a question. My wife is a dancer, not a stripper, a dancer, and she's performed all her life, and then I met her and I started watching her perform. I'm like, it must feel awesome to have people applaud you. Do you like feel good when like the audience, even if it's 10 people, like I always say to her, I've never had one person like applaud me. Is it a good feeling?
Yeah, I would say it is one of the best feelings, that one could receive. It's a token of gratitude for, you're putting on a performance, no matter what you're doing, whether you're a wrestler, a dancer, baseball player, whatever you're doing. And if you're doing it to please someone and they give you that gratification, that's what you were wanting. So even if it is just a crowd of 10 or it's a crowd of 10,000 and it's the same kind of feeling all around. If I'm going out there to wrestle for 10 people, I want 10 people to be happy. If I'm going out there to wrestle for 10,000, I want 10,000 people to be happy.
Yeah. All right. So I have one last question for you, wrestling question. Do you still watch wrestling like for your free time?
Oh, absolutely. I got SmackDown on right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you have the WWE network?
Yeah,
okay. Everyone does.
The network, and that's the thing. You hear a lot of people, a lot of wrestlers will say that, they don't watch wrestling anymore.
Yeah.
And to me, it doesn't matter if what's on SmackDown or Raw is good right now. It's still wrestling. It's still on TV. They have a bunch of pyro and screens, and just watch it.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Watch it. It makes billions of dollars for a reason.
Exactly. All right. I'm going to let you go in a minute. I have 5 random questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
Not wrestling related, but just yes or no. Okay, so the first one is, have you ever been bitten by a wild animal?
Yes.
What was it?
Well, it's hard to say what it's not a wild animal. It was a loose dog.
That counts.
That's the first thing in my mind. So it was definitely a wild animal. It came running up, and I thought it was gonna be nice, and it just wasn't, and it tore right into my ankle. So if you ever
there's a scar down there.
Yeah. So if you're ever around and you want to see it,
if I'm ever crawling around your floor and I come up to your ankle.
Now that the world knows.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever heard the song Baby Monkey Going Backwards on a Pig?
No.
It's not a dirty song. Might want to check.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'll remember that. That's hard
to forget. For $50,000, would you let Patrick Mahomes throw a laser right at your belly?
Yes, okay. I would.
Do you believe that people will be reunited with their pets when they go to heaven?
I sure hope so.
Okay.
I sure hope so.
If you are good with kids, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming you are, would you mind babysitting mine for 3 straight weeks?
3 straight weeks? Bring them over.
Woo! All right. Great.
Bring them over.
Finally. All right.
I just watched a puppy for 3 days. I was dog sitting for 3 days. I kept the puppy alive. So I think I can handle kids for 3 weeks. I think it's the same. I think it equals itself out.
You barely have to feed them, like a little, leave the sinks on with a drip of water and maybe something in the fridge.
That's easy.
Yeah.
This parenting stuff. I don't know why everybody gets so hard about it.
So are you wrestling anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. I actually just had I think it was my 16-week or something appointment. And a couple days ago, I actually just, I felt an too familiar pain in my left knee.
Oh no!
I was just doing some running, and my left knee is the good one. My right knee is the one I just had surgery on. And since I was going in 2 days to get it checked out, I kind of asked them if they could look at my knee for me, make sure everything's okay. And I don't know if you're familiar with what the IT band is.
Yeah.
Well, my IT band, because I didn't stretch, as what they explained it to me, I didn't do enough stretching before I ran, decided to run across my hip bone. It's a very painful thing when it happens, it tightens up, and it takes a little while to loosen up and things like that. So I don't think it pushed me coming back to wrestling anytime soon, but it definitely hindered, working out and things like that.
Are you still
get back? So.
Are you going to shows? Or just
I actually just went to one in Chicago. I think it was last weekend, Gallery Lucha, just to kind of get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, get your face out there again and see everyone. All right. Well, I thank you so much. I'd love to have you on again because I have a ton of more questions to ask you. But stay well and be safe. I hope your rehab continues and your arms are fine. Just leave it to your legs for now. It'll get better.
Legs. I did not get blessed with good legs. I didn't get blessed with good legs for height. I didn't get blessed with good legs for ACLs and now this band. But the arms, they're
yeah, totally. You can feed. Hey, as long as you can feed yourself and give yourself medication if you need it, you're good. All right, Jake. Thank you so much. This was great, and I will definitely talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, man. Bye.
Take care.